As we begin this adventure in belonging together, it's important to start with the foundation. What is the basis of Avive la Vie and this mode of life that we can all learn to live by? So the first part to understand is that we are feeling creatures. And what that means is that we have an emotional body, and that emotional body possesses just as much intelligence as the thoughts that we're having on a daily basis. We are actually raised in a correction way of living. And so what happens to this emotional body is that it is put aside. So to give you an example, let's say there's a 5-year-old who's playing in a puddle of water. He's getting all muddy and he's just having so much fun. And the adult walks up to the child and looks at the child and he's like frustrated and goes, "Oh my gosh, what are we going to do with you?" And just grabs the kid, yanks him out of the puddle and say, "We got to clean you up. You got to go to school." So in that moment, we are met with this rationale. And what's happening to the child? Is the child able to understand this rationale, or is the child just experiencing being yanked out of this emotional experience? So fast forward further in our lives, what starts happening is that we actually have been conditioned to meet our emotional body with a kind of rationale that we've inflicted for all those years. And what that does is it leaves us to have emotions that fester inside of our body that don't get attended to and attuned to. And it leaves us with very few resources to actually deal with this emotional body. So most of us either explode or implode with our emotions from time to time because you can't repress emotions consistently. I mean, we can succeed at it on the short term, but not on the long term. Now imagine thousands of emotional experiences that we were yanked out of for years. Now imagine that for a moment. Slowly but surely, there's a message that's being sent to our nervous system, is that our experiences are not welcome. So that leaves us sort of finding ourselves with an unconscious belief that we don't quite matter, especially when we're having emotional experiences. The next thing that we're not aware of is that our emotional body is actually the doorway to experiencing our true selves. So we have innate senses within us that are intact. These are resilience, courage, love, and value. They exist within us. Now, because we were raised in this correction way, we are consistently repressing our current experiences, which at the same time represses our innate senses. Now let's take a look at the sequence of what leads us to basically cut off the relationship between our mind and our emotional body. So first, we are raised in this correction way of living, which leads us to fear rejection from others. So then we adapt what we call false belonging habits. These habits are put in place from this fear of rejection and this fear of not being acceptable just the way we are. And most of us adapt one or two that are very predominant. And what they all have in common is that there's a belief that in order to have a sense of love and value, I need to change myself. So if we look at them one by one, the first one is the one we call performance. And so performance is if I succeed, and if my achievements are good enough, then I can be lovable and valuable. The second one is what we call self-neglect. And this is a habit that's developed from someone who learns early on to put themselves aside to be there for others. The belief is that if I'm there for others, oftentimes at the price of sacrificing my own needs, then I'll be valuable. This is how I gain value. The third one is to put our guards up. And it's like we anticipate that love is something that we don't quite have, especially because our experiences are not honored. We have this sense that we're not quite up to par, and so we put our guard up. The next one is we get lost in anxiety, and anxiety becomes a way to be responsible in life. This is where we anticipate how the world is going to present me with some challenges, and I need to be anticipating how to fix those problems. And if I'm able to fix and anticipate all the bad things that might happen, then I have value, then I have love. We actually learn to reject our feelings, and that leaves us to believe that our feelings are something to be managed, and some of them are acceptable, some of them are not. And so Therefore, we're lovable sometimes and not lovable some other times. And the final one is what we call self-doubt, which is basically founded in this ability to doubt ourselves to such an extreme that we let other people almost think for us. So we believe that we're not valuable just to share our own opinion. We have to get the approval of others in order to have value, in order to have love. The majority of our distress in life comes from broken connection, meaning that we consistently are disconnected from our emotional body, and then we keep functioning from these false belonging habits. The key here is to change this mode of living from a correction way of living to a connection way of living. And this is exactly what this adventure in belonging is about. Once we learn to prioritize this way of living, what starts happening is we have a different experience of who we are, and this is where we start to really experience ourselves as resilient, courageous, loving, and deeply valuable people. This comes from our core self, a core experience of who we are. So making room for all of our difficulty, the challenges, the discomfort that we have in life, becoming open and authentic actually opens the door to our brilliance. So this is a very exciting journey. I've seen so many people transform their lives and reporting how radically their relationship with their kids, their relationship with their partner, their relationship with their colleague at work is completely changed. So it's something that we're all going to learn together. So thank you for being on this journey with us. As we say, Avive la Vie.